What is going on, everyone? Parsnip here, and as the economy is starting to stabilize, I wanted to talk a bit about the auction house and how to make money from it. Before we begin, I'd like to point out that all references I use for this video will be linked in the description below. However, the vast majority of the information is from me messing around in the Unchained auction house. So everyone knows that regardless of the MMO, there's always money to be made from the auction house, especially upon the release as prices are still unstable. However, if by chance you're expecting to make that huge easy sum of money that a lot of players made early on, chances are you already missed out. To truly make money from the auction house, you will have to waste some time, be a bit attentive, and know the general value of items. So to start off, before anything else, it's important you know the math. This is super important as not only will it help you not lose money, but you'll need to know it in order to maximize your profit. A lot of players forget, but the auction house has a 10% tax when selling an item. For example, let's say you sell a diamond for 100 gold. Besides the placement fee that you initially spend, you will also lose 10% of the sold value, meaning you'll be getting less than 90 gold for selling that item. So what should you do? Before buying, you should figure out exactly how much you'll need to sell it for to break even. To do so, you simply have to divide the buy price by 0.9. For example, if you buy an onyx essence for 5 gold, you'll need to sell it for a minimum of 5 gold and 50 silver to break even. This not counting the listing fees. As for selling, you should always do the simple equation, which is sell price multiplied by 0.9. This will tell you exactly how much you'll be making from selling an item. For example, let's say you sell an onyx essence for 5 gold. Now multiply it by 0.9 and you'll be making 4 gold and 50 silver. And again, this does not include the listing fees. The last equation you should know is your total profit, which is also pretty simple to figure out. For example, let's use 100 onyx essence. Say you bought the essence for 4 gold each and wasted a total of 400 gold. You then sold each one of them for 5 gold a piece, giving you a total of 500 gold. Multiply that by 0.9 and again, not including the listing fees, you made a total of 450 gold. So your final profit equation will be final sale price divided by the buying price times the total amount you sold, and to finish it off, feel free to subtract the listing fees when you have the final result. So from our previous example, let's say it cost a total of 10 gold to list the items. I made a total of 40 gold in profit from that initial investment. Before we begin to talk about preparations and whatnot, I would just like to mention a quick tip that will help you out in the long run. If you are constantly selling more expensive items like say Luna gems, consider selling it in trade chat to maximize your profit instead of selling it in the auction house and losing a total of 10%. For example, let's go ahead and say Luna gems are going for 200 gold in your server. Times that by 0.9 and that's a total of 20 gold you'd be losing. Here you consider selling it, for example, for 190 or 195 in trade chat to maximize your profit, as you won't lose that 10%. Always remember, the more expensive the item is, the more gold that's deducted from tax. Make sure you don't buy something, for example, 180 gold and try to make a profit selling it for 190. So once you have the math down, what do? Preparations. I cannot say this enough, but do not expect to hop into the auction house without knowing X from Y and expect to make a great deal of gold. Heck, you'll be lucky if you do profit. So what can you do? For starter, let's talk about the first thing you should know, and that is the prices. Having a base understanding of what costs what will save you a ton of headaches in the long run. For this, you will have to be watching the market, especially at a different time of the day. I will highly recommend you start off simply looking at some items that you might consider to be profitable and pick some stuff from there. Observe their prices, see what people are selling them for in trade chat, and most importantly, the time they sell for more. A general rule you can follow is bid in off hours and sell at peak hours. For most part, peak hours is when you'll be able to sell it for the highest amount as well as for the fastest time, because you have more people interested on that, unlike off hours. The next step is your balance. While you take a few days to go ahead and test the waters, you should be saving money. Sadly, to play with the auction house, you need a solid base that allows you to be comfortable bidding on items and going without that gold for a couple of hours. Ideally, I'd recommend a minimum of 1000 gold. However, if you are just starting and want to get a taste of it, 500 gold can still net you a couple of items. Don't forget, forget, not only will you have gold invested on bids, you will also have gold invested in items that you bought that's waiting to be sold. Next up, you're gonna need a lot of patience. I cannot say this enough, but there's absolutely no need for you to rush and risk losing money. If you have a good amount of resource, meaning you saved that good amount of gold, you're not in a rush to sell, and you did your research, there's absolutely no risk of losing money. A good example of this is missing your timing. Say you bought a bunch of diamonds for about 105 gold each when they are normally selling for, let's say, 125. You left them to sell overnight and you go ahead and log in the morning and they didn't sell. Well, you open the auction house and see the lowest listing is 20 gold less than yours. You know, don't worry, chances are someone maybe hit a jackpot, they got lucky, and they're quickly trying to sell the diamonds. Hold on to yours, you know, don't rush, don't undercut too much, you don't want to be losing money. Chances are, again, if it's not a diamond, if it's something else, that the prices will naturally stabilize. Now, if you did make a mistake, it sucks for you, cut your losses and sell it. However, if you believe that it's not a mistake, that it's just someone that for some reason happened to get a bunch of those items and just wants to quickly get rid of them, do not worry, take your time. Patience is everything while attempting to sell things in the auction house. Lastly, and this is a pretty important one, and that's knowing the game. Older players or players who are aligned 24/7 will naturally have more information that you don't, and this will play a big advantage when you know a certain type of material is needed or will be flooded into the market. Two great examples of this, and one of that almost everyone should have noticed, is Archeage and Onyx. I did talk about Onyx quite a lot at the beginning, and at the start of the game, for example, the demand for Archeage ingots and Archeage ore was huge and very little existed in stock. Naturally, the prices for them were sky high. Eventually, as more and more players mined, prices started to lower. Same thing with diamonds. Diamonds used to be in an all-time high, now they're at an all-time low. An opposite example of this would be Onyx Essence. Early on, it was pretty worthless as it was not sought after. However, if you knew how important it would be later on, you know that the prices has easily gone up over 5 times its original value. Players who saw this coming bought cheap and sold high. This could be accounted as a long-term investment, and it's very hard to do, especially early on when you don't have that type of money to keep in the bank. But with this type of knowledge, knowing what will be needed is important. A even more recent example would be Luna Gems. Player who tried the PTS and saw that Luna Gems were going to be needed in the Arch Pass hold a great amount of power. In my server, for example, you could buy Luna Gems or 7k honor for a mere 120 gold, maybe 130 gold, you know, the price changes. However, as of right now, 7k honor when I made this video is going for a whopping 180 gold and is just slowly rising, which, had you known, you'd probably have bought and made a pretty good solid profit. So now that you have the math and basics down, we can go ahead and talk about some very useful do's and don'ts, starting with quantity. It's important to not flood the market. Every item in the game revolves around supply and demand. The higher the demand, the more expensive the item will be. If all of a sudden you throw in thousands of a single item, chances are the prices will plummet down, affecting not only you but all the players that have that item. While we talk about quantity, let's be honest, no one wants to buy 1,000 bronze ingots at once. Generally, people will require less quantity, meaning the more time you have those 1,000 ingots in the auction house, the higher the chance other people will undercut your item. This means that when you wonder why your items is not selling, there's most likely a couple of ingots that are selling for a lot less than yours. Don't forget, undercutting is dangerous. It's important to know that it's best to sell items in certain times and better to buy at other times. Generally, what I do and what a lot of players do, at least it's what I've noticed while playing in Europe, it's that in the morning there is very few players on, which allows me to win bids a lot more easy. I waste less gold, I get them faster. I even forget about some some items while bidding and I win them. However, in the afternoons during peak hours, it's very hard to bid on items. You have a lot of competition. The prices go for a lot higher than what you can buy in the morning, meaning you can definitely sell items for a higher price at peak hours. So if you're online in the morning, you have some items you want to sell, just hold them for a little bit. During peak hours at night, late afternoon, that's when you want to sell your items. Lastly, don't forget that there's a lot of people that play the game. Don't ever undercut others by a huge margin. Just because you want to get rid of them quickly, if you undercut it, it will naturally start bringing the prices down, especially if it takes a while to sell. I'm not telling you not to undercut, but undercut by as little as possible. If you could just take out like 5 copper, that's great. That way, everybody gets more money. You know, you'll be losing less money, the next person will be losing less money, and the cycle goes on. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully I managed to explain everything I know. If you are wondering what I'm investing on at the moment, it's the gargoyle wings and the fairy path from the arch pass. I believe that those items will drastically go up in value in a couple of months, as you won't be able to get them again for quite some time. But by no means am I telling you to invest in these, I'm just saying what I'm going for. Now, if by chance you notice that I said something incorrect, let me know and I'll try to fix it as soon as possible. After all, guys, I'm only human, I'm not perfect, I might have said something wrong, or if I said something, for example, timing wise, if it's different in your server, know that on my server it's like that. I play in Belstrom, I'm in Europe. It might be very different from North America or Korea or wherever it is you play from. And that's pretty much it, guys. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.